Hello and welcome to the BTC podcast. Thank you so much for being a part of our growing community. Remember that you can also continue to grow our online community by simply subscribing to our channel right here and also liking all our content and commenting because we want to hear your feedback. This podcast, by the way, is all about creativity, innovation, and meaningful conversations, okay? My name is Kedi Mulusiwa. You might also know me as Kedi, aka Lezoti, aka Zo, your host with the most. And we're having so much fun as per the norm. And speaking of which, before we get into our conversation, I would just like to thank, first of all, our Cell City family for putting us on this really awesome Galaxy Tab. And this one is called the Samsung Galaxy Tab A9 Plus, okay? So get yourself one. Technology. And we have a very special guest today's episode. We get to speak to a woman who's been in many management roles. She's one of the top leaders in our country. I mean, if I do say so myself. And she's an accomplished management executive. She's been country manager for the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. She's also worked for Air Botswana as an acting commercial director and many roles in leadership. She's currently the Deputy Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Entrepreneurship. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Miss Hellen Chilisa. Let's give her an applause. Hi, Ms. Chilisa.
Good morning, Katie. Good morning, viewers.
How are you doing?
I'm allowed to be honest, right?
Yes, you are more than allowed to be honest.
But I'm excited.
Yes.
It's been quite a hectic week, a week, monumental week. It has been, but the steam is still there. So
yes. We're just coming from the Forbes 30 Under 30 Africa Summit, third time in a row that it's been hosted in Botswana. How's the feedback been and how's the preparation been? How do you feel about having Forbes Under 30 Africa Summit being held in Botswana again and again and again?
It's a third installment, as you said. I mean, with time, things are supposed to get easier, and indeed it got easier. As a steering committee, working with our principals and other stakeholders, and everybody understanding what Forbes is. That feedback, it depends. Again, I've had feedback that has been phenomenal. I've had a few corporates, over the weekend and until this morning, calling me saying, "Hellen and team, great stuff that you're doing. Great stuff." And then, I believe I've not had time to go through the social media utterances that I've seen. But again, I guess as a ministry to buttress some of those not so progressive, not so positive comments. I mean, there's a reason why. Maybe they probably just come from, pure lack of understanding. This is an audience where, if you've missed out the Forbes messaging, if you've missed out the Forbes intentions, thank you very much for having me this morning. And we hope to dispel those and, iron them out this morning.
Yes, absolutely. But before we do talk more about Forbes 30 Under 30 Africa Summit being held in Botswana, I would like to give you this chance to let us in on who you are as Hellen Chilisa. I know I mentioned the various roles that you've played, your women in leadership now also. So from the background, how did you grow up? How did you, which school did you attend to leading you where you are right now in life? I just want to take you back a little bit.
I hope my memory is able to take me back. Rightly said, Hellen Chilisa is my name. Quite accomplished, professional in Botswana. I've had quite a colorful career. I've been very grateful to what my country's been able to give me. And again, before giving that, I also had to prepare. It took years of preparation. Yeah, nothing comes easy, like I was told, tell my entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurs that I engage with, being an entrepreneur is equally as serious as, preparing for your career, preparing to be a doctor, preparing to be a lawyer or an engineer or any other trade. And growing up, I grew up in a small town called Jwaneng. Back in the days, back in the 80s, it was a small town with one supermarket. And occasionally, we'd have a truck of supplies would come once a week. So, I'm Jwaneng, mine, and when I tell people I am what I am because of the diversity that Johnny gave me. I am what I am today because just the diamond. I'm the shining example of what Botswana diamond can do. So from joining, I'm transitioned onto tertiary education. Oh, pardon me, high school. I did my high school in a town called just outside of Port Elizabeth, Uitenhage, Woodridge College. Yes, yeah, I'm a proud alumni of Woodridge College. And from there, I went to progress and did my tertiary studies, which most were in Europe, in Austria, the UK, France, and Malta. Yeah, so I'm also been quite an avid learner. I'm one of those people that when I'm bored, okay, what can I study next?
Wow, you're a true academic.
Yes. There's also, but there is some element of academic in me.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, for me to confess that would make me, I'm a geek, right? Or a nerd. So
Which is okay. It's okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, if you say so. Having done that, I had worked in Botswana, like I said, it's quite a colorful career. After having spent at least almost 25 years in the private sector, I got a call to come and serve, on government. There's an opportunity. And of course, now you're serving a country, giving back. Yeah, my country's done so much for me. It's now time for me to give back to my country. And this is my 6th year in the public service. My first appointment was as Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, where we were doing the education reform, just the transformation. And again, now I'm in the Ministry of Entrepreneurship after having spent again the Office of the President.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And in terms of the establishment of Ministry of Entrepreneurship, I think it's been running for 2 years now?
2 going to 3 years, yeah.
Two going to 3 years, yeah. So it's a newly formed ministry in our country. I remember when it came out, we're going to have Ministry of Entrepreneurship, it was just confusing for the bulk of the audience. I think they were just like, okay, what is it? What is it going to do? And now we get to see what the role of the Ministry of Entrepreneurship actually is, bringing something such as Forbes 30 under 30, which is also another entrepreneurship opportunity, so to speak. So how's the ministry been running over the last 2 years now, going on your 3rd year? Any other achievements besides having Forbes?
Let me just go delve a bit back on what the Ministry of Entrepreneurship, its mandate. Look,
yes,
we've always had trade in Botswana, so I'm sure that's where the confusion was, because Ministry of Trade is there. We've always had entrepreneurs, but as a ministry, we needed to have a dedicated ministry, dedicated office with policy that just speaks to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, like everything else, has evolved. Now we are now looking at innovation. Good 10, 20 years ago, when one was an entrepreneur, you're just trading. Now we're looking for people who become innovative, in terms of now how do we break the glass ceilings? How do we become disruptive? Who is out there who's now willing, who has got what it takes to take the risks to go and disrupt, let me say BTC as an example. I love you, BTC, but it's just an example of when you talk about disruption. And again, it's just how we needed policies that spoke to enterprise. So this is why the Ministry of Entrepreneurship was established, so that we could have the whole coordinated effort. I know everybody's been doing their bits and in their own spaces, but we now needed something that was more coordinated, something that was more structured, and a policy that spoke to that. Again, it is quite broad. We looked at the mindset change. It is also quite a big component of our ministry's mandate. It all started when His Excellency, launched his reset agenda. And you remember mindset was one of them, the COVID, there were quite 5 priorities. And now the ministry is rolling out those priorities. Yes, so we need a single place to have those priorities rolled out. So we look at mindset change, we look at the value chain development. Value chain has been a buzzword amongst all corridors.
Yes.
Any conference you go to, there's always an element of value chains every country step to. This is where, and Africa is awakening to that. And then from there, we now needed to align all of government machinery to meet that. And most importantly, it's digitalization as well. Congratulations to BTC. You've now moved away from traditional marketing. You're now, having your marketing efforts, on the backbone of digitalization, and hence the podcast series that you're having.
Yeah.
So you're now being disruptive,
Absolutely.
So you are now changing what has always been norm.
Yes.
So this is where the ministry comes in, and we advocate for that.
Yes. Okay. And then I also want to take you back a little bit, just continuing on who you are.
I'm not getting out of this.
No, I also read a little bit that you did masters in aerospace management. Is that so? And what is that? Also, why did you choose that?
Okay, my love for aviation, I mean, it's still my love, was when I was with Air Botswana.
Yes.
I was with Air Botswana. That was at a time where, are we privatizing? Are we not privatizing? The conversation had been ongoing. I fell in love with the industry so much that I thought, okay, Helen, at one point, we never had an executive, to lead us. And I recall, you must have picked that up from my resume. I mean, for 3 years, you're sitting in a position where you're an acting commercial director, but you're loving it so much. And after, I was in Botswana to almost 6 years or so, then I thought to myself, because I love the aviation industry so much, let me go into a classroom environment and learn it better from a classroom environment. So hence, I went to Toulouse in France. This is the capital of aviation.
Okay.
And I spent almost 2.5 wonderful years there in and out of France, and also got the opportunity to go to Canada, spend some time in Canada, and I did an executive education at HEC Montreal, again, where, you're now working with other areas in the whole ecosystem of aviation. So this is where,
Yeah, that's where aerospace came in.
Absolutely.
Okay, no, very interesting, by the way, because you are an academic, Tota. And why is it so important, like, to you as an individual? Why do you think it's so important to excel at school and to go to school and study at school and level up?
I mean, it's also what we call it in business terms, we call it research and development, right? Yeah, you can't be competent, in your trade if you're not constantly researching, if you're not constantly looking at new ways, new innovative ways of improving yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, what I learned from my first graduation, and if I tell you the year, you'll know how old I am, how relevant am I to today's workplace? So quite often you need to retool, reskill. And, we've now moved away from people probably spending more than probably 5 years or 2 years in schools in areas of higher education. We're now looking at impact, certificates or impact, postgraduate diplomas that are now building one's competencies. So it's very, very important that, one's competencies have always got to be very relevant and add part to the needs of the market. So, I mean, that's just me. That's just me.
No, but it is true. Yeah, what you're saying is 100% true. Let's also talk about the traits, to get to executive positions, management positions, especially in our country.
Yeah.
What are the ins and outs? What do I need to do as a young person now? I haven't reached 30 yet, but obviously I have an idea where I'd like my life to go for the next 10 years. And I'm looking at you now as Chilisa, who has been in this industry and serving for our country for so many years now. And I want to do that. I want to find myself in your position one day. What do I need to do? How do I get to that point?
I mean, you need to be intentional about your journey. It's not the narrative because I'm a woman, therefore, or because I've been working for 25 years, therefore I'm entitled to the next promotion. You've got to be intentional. And in that journey to intentionality, like I said, make yourself relevant. Even if it means every 5 years, re-engineer yourself, transform yourself. When we talk of organizations going through transformation, it also applies to us at a personal level. Yeah. And also one thing that I also advocate for is, find yourself a mentor. Somebody, a mentor, have one or two. I've had that. I've also had professional coaches, which go every 2 years, I'll check in and do a program with them for 6 months. And you need to own this, because quite often I find that people don't take these journeys with government or my employer is not going to pay for it. I'm not going to do it. And mind you, this is all I've been paying for it out of my pocket, So this is the reason why maybe, I don't have that other things that I didn't prioritize.
Yeah.
I prioritize my personal development, and at the point whereby, I will be rewarded accordingly. So it's only fair. So, that, my dear, I encourage you to have a mentor. Just carry on learning. And networking over and above that, having a presence. We have platforms like we're LinkedIn today. You don't have to be at every single cocktail happening in town. You don't have to be at every single conference. But segment, just like how you're a product. You're a product. How do you segment yourself? How do you position yourself? How do you put yourself out there? And most importantly, be quite self-aware of your surrounding. So that's a lot of the whole emotional intelligence. you've got to be aware of what the surrounding is, when the timing is. I mean, many times I've applied for jobs that, I didn't get, including BTC, but it wasn't the timing
Just
then.
putting it out there.
Yeah. So just putting yourself out there, but for whatever reason, but, and life goes on, and always have a positive outlook to life.
Yeah.
I find that, it's nothing personal. It just wasn't just the time.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's how it goes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And your current role now as DPS of Ministry of Entrepreneurship, how are you able to transition into that role?
Okay.
Did it find you, or you found it?
Okay. I was at the Office of the President, and I was tasked with His Excellency's initiatives. These are mainly his pet projects. Forbes being one of them. There were quite a number. So from when the Ministry of Entrepreneurship was incepted, the opportunity came. And, the transition was quite straightforward because, I didn't struggle because I've spoken to my experience I've had in the private sector. Yeah, so it was quite, Hellen, get on with it. And, indeed, we got on with it, and we have been making quite significant strides. We try as much as possible, to be playing across the whole entrepreneurial ecosystem. We try by all means to even have a strong presence on social media. I love the job. Every single day it's something new. My doors are open. I love the young, energetic, entrepreneurs with big endeavors for themselves and big dreams. They come out there and they talk to me, and I also learn from them. It's not just about me preaching. It's a two-way. I learn from them so much. I've been spending a lot of time with the creatives, in the past month. With the creatives have come to me, and we talk about how can we position them. When is the country going to be ready for them? We're more than ready at policy level, but now we now needed to share that with them. So about just before Forbes started, on the Saturday morning, we had what we called a creative session. I was able to identify the delegates coming, who are the strong creatives who've done quite significantly in their trade back in the countries of domiciles. I was able to speak to them. Come, let's collaborate. Let's just spend this morning. Let's have a masterclass, a workshop. So it was quite meaningful and quite impactful. And from there, we also had a movie premiere. And, you looked at that, okay, Hellen, wow, in 1 week, the ministry is able to pull off 2 premieres. What if, let us dream, let us be the Martin Luther Kings. What if one day, Botswana, in the very near future, it's a dream that we need to live. Unlike Martin Luther, never saw his dream. Why can't Botswana have, the International Film Festival?
Yes.
Like when I look at Cannes.
Yes.
Cannes does not have a big movie industry. It's outside of Hollywood. Everybody goes to Cannes.
Yes.
Yeah, so already, we're able to showcase 2 movies, 2 premieres before they went to Netflix and before they went to DSTV. And again, that also offered a platform for our local creatives to network, engage, and form collaborations.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now let's also talk about the Forbes 30 Under 30 Africa Summit. 3rd year now in a row that it's been held in Botswana. I know we spoke a little bit about the reception yet being hella, but let's also talk about the benefits of having the Africa Summit held kwano for the Botswana.
Firstly, we're talking the MICE strategy. The meetings, incentives, conferences, and events, MICE. And, His Excellency did pronounce Botswana should ideally be a destination for MICE. We see where all the conferences, incentives all come to Botswana. So already as a ministry, we've complied to that. So we can tick
that box
the
over
box
there.
that,
Yes, it's done.
This is for Forbes. That's the bigger picture. However, there are also spin-offs. But I would also encourage, we've seen from when we started in 2022 to where we are today, the summit has grown phenomenally. And even now, more Botswana are more interested. At first, the Forbes. But look, Forbes are like other, it's a big, international media company. There's always been Fortune 500, I get, whereby they look at entrepreneurs and they have them out there, or Time Magazine, or Bloomberg. It's just one of those. It's also that on that league. So for us to be able to have hosted it on our home ground, it's a big achievement.
Yeah.
Because when we engage with, when I travel or engage with friends or people in my social network community, they mention that we're able to host Forbes. Like, oh, okay. Now it's automatically elevates Botswana. If we can host a conference, a summit the size of Forbes, why can't we not host the next World Bank Spring meetings for Botswana? Why can we not host the next African Development Bank meetings? Already, there's no certainty. Last year we did also a great job as a country where we hosted the US Africa Summit. A summit so big, from Marrakesh, it came to Botswana. So this is what, we're talking to. So I just encourage my fellow countrymen and women, let's just take a little bit more time just to read understand and ask. I mean, sometimes it's easier, to come up with outbursts because we have not done justice to ourselves to understand exactly what is a roadmap behind His Excellency. What exactly is the ministry trying to say, trying to do? We're hosting people automatically, roads are closed, there were inconvenience, a temporary inconvenience, but for a bigger cause at the end of the day. Yeah.
And what's been so different about this edition compared to the last two that we've had?
Oh, I mean, it's grown in terms of numbers. It's grown in terms of interest.
Yes.
I mean, and again, the mood, even the corporates, I've had calls. The calls have been overwhelming. And in an ideal scenario, we'd love for the private sector to run with such events as opposed to leaving it on the backbone of government. We are the policy drivers. We give guidance, we give strategic direction, but let's have more partnership, participation. So this is, again, just during the summit and up till this morning, the calls were coming in, the comments on the social media status. This is that, well done, Botswana, well done, Ministry of Entrepreneurship, and well done to the team that we've worked with in the leadership, for entrusting us, that this we could deliver to Botswana.
Yeah. And speaking about social media, there have been somewhat public remarks made online about Forbes being in Botswana, some deeming it a waste of resources, a waste of time. Why are we having this thing here? Yeah. What do you have to say about that?
Look, I'll address it in a scholarly way. We did say I'm an academic. Look, I mean, I can come up with a statement, and you'd always say, okay, Helen, this is your statement, this is your position. How do I quantify that? What is the research? Am I just saying it? Or, I mean, have we said, okay, we spent the past 6 months or 12 months doing a research? It would also be nice for those statements to be accompanied by that. I mean, I'm very, very open to the feedback.
Yes.
Yeah, how it's a total waste of time. Give me the feedback, show me the statistics, show me the numbers that speak to that,
Yeah.
I mean, how much of a population feels this way? So ultimately, as an academic, or even when people who drive policy, we need the academics, both the University of Botswana, Boost, and all the other universities, to be giving us, the data, to be giving us the statistics and the studies to inform us better. So this is where, like I said, I can only address it in a scholarly way. It's not about, getting into a debate with words, or, let me out. Do your words, let me challenge Gedi. Gedi said this, I'm going to say this. But now let's I mean, this is an initiative of His Excellency, the President. We need to guide him. Government has to be guided fairly, So let's just have the statistics that talk to that.
Are we going to have that, though? Like some sort of research that can show, okay, that when we started this project in 2021, for example, we've seen this happening, and now we've been able to quantify the growth yet thing. This is what has happened.
Absolutely. Like all projects, we need to monitor and evaluate them.
And have like a report.
Absolutely. That we're going to share with the general public. It's
Okay.
going to be available on the ministry platforms, BW Gov, where look, we need to be transparent, because at the end of the day, this is all public, public money, public
Yes.
interest. Whatever it is that, as per the Public Service Charter, we serve in the interest of the public. So we need to make sure that after Forbes, we now pause. We've had the third installment, let's pause and let's review.
Yes.
And with those reviews, and there have been quite a number of success stories that have come out of Forbes. Now let's not just share them on an ad hoc base. Let's just have the data there, that any Botswana who at any given time wants to know or from which sector, be it agriculture, be it science, be it creatives, at a press of a button, let's just have that information out there for them.
Yeah.
In all fairness to my countrymen and countrywomen,
Yes.
we could do that approach that we want to be taking going forward.
Absolutely.
Before post Forbes, because again, as long as we have that my strategy, we're going to be having more. It might not just be Forbes. It might just be the time. It might just be the Diamond Summit. It might be that's across all sectors. But agriculture, be it tourism, there'll always be presence of people in Botswana. And ideally, if we could have that every month or even twice a month, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
So it's the my strategy is here.
Okay.
So we just need to share the impact. We need to share the vision more, and we need to own that. Researching a bit, let's buying a little bit more. Let's ask. So in the days of maybe here's the next challenge, you are the creatives, digitalization. Let's just have one of those chat boxes where you can just say, hey, Ministry of Entrepreneurship, what is this? What is that? And then within a few seconds, you've got your answers.
Yeah.
Something like a chat GPT, on that. Yeah. So, I mean, to whoever is listening who's an entrepreneur, there's an opportunity.
To do something of that sort.
Along that side.
Yeah. And how is the Ministry of Entrepreneurship sort of facilitating and being able to drive change in our entrepreneurship landscape, particularly looking at Forbes 30 Under 30 Africa Summit? How is the ministry playing a part in ensuring that indeed hakele a Motswana business, kana kele a CEO of my own company, ha ke a Forbes, ke a go tswa hana ke na le contacts tsena ibile ke khona gore ke ka moso ke re ke export my own products kai in those other countries? Does the ministry play a part in that? Do you guys help people as entrepreneurs?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And quite often people think help is money. Help is knowledge, information.
Okay.
Yeah, information. Because we're now saying to people, look, as opposed to me probably just selling depends like everyone, let's be innovative. The real game changing, the real winner is when you're innovative in your business. We've seen, innovation, something from the norm. And then from there, once there's great buy-in, you can even export that. I mean, look at how we moved away from the days of pen pals, now it's email. That was innovation.
Yes,
yes. We've now to WhatsApp as opposed to, we used to write each other notes once upon a time. I can just text you. So that is something innovative. So we're not saying, look, we have a great pipeline from the universities. Our students are making great prototypes. But they do them. Okay, I've passed my exam. I've got 90%. I'm graduating next month. But those are innovations. Those prototypes, you can now patent them, go register them, so they can become the next innovation. Because that is, through universities, this is a pipeline. These are the next game changers. Because often, stories about Mark Zuckerberg, the guy why Apple, I forgot his name, where they were at university and whatever they work, they read, I'm dropping out. I'm going to pursue this.
Yes.
Look, I'm not saying you already drop out, but if you know that you feel confident in your product, you want to take it to market, is market ready for it?
Yeah.
Why are you still in the classroom,
Yes.
So it works both ways. So I'm not, just a disclaimer there. What I'm not saying, hey, but not drop out of school, but I'm saying these things happen. The innovation was so great. And we're now also looking at, let's be more enterprising, even in our mindset. The whole we're just doing just to create employment, make it so that that mindset has to change, going bigger. Are you now, when you're getting into business, is it a question of how much of research have you done? What problem are you solving? That's a big thing. Are you a problem solver? So as long as, people are solving problems, everybody will be smiling to the bank because we now need to be solving problems. I mean, you look around us, there are quite a lot of problems in the room. There are a lot of problems in the city that needs to be solved. As a government, our responsibility is to make sure that, we have those lucrative opportunities in the environment or in an economy so that problem solvers like viewers out there, problem solvers can embark on.
Yeah. And how do I ensure that my IP is protected? Because if I'm going to come to the ministry, for example, I have this great grand idea, and then you guys maybe take my proposal, next 5 years, this is a tender and it's now allocated to somebody else. And I had the same idea, or this is what I had proposed initially, How do I protect myself from those instances where these things might happen?
Yeah. No, they do happen. I mean, we hear those stories, not just in Botswana, across the world.
Yes.
In the professional workplace, we call it professional espionage. I don't know. But look, it is there. The only way, again, it's also knowledge. Quite often we think SEPA is just for registering companies. But that's just a fraction of what SEPA does. SEPA does one of the IPs, the patents. So, there's a gentleman that we had at last week's creative session, a gentleman rapport, very, very sharp, very, very solid in his trade, where he was able to break it down to the creatives that were in attendance. Unfortunately, the ministry, we're live streaming it, and I hope the message was out there, and we'll share it more. So this protection, it's for me, I can sit there and lecture you, but for you to really own it, I'm just going to leave it at that. SIPA, engage, allow you to go to SIPA, engage them, ask them questions, ask them how do I protect myself, ask them how do I even monetize my creative, how do I even monetize my project. So they are there. So like, again, I keep referring to that. Let's spend a little bit more time understanding things.
Okay.
Yeah, so instead of a wealth of information, even on your phones, just go on there, just do desktop research on your phones and on your laptop, just spend a little more time. You hear people that I was self-taught over COVID. I taught myself how to code. Over COVID, I taught myself how to I was able to certify. I mean, I did a few program certificates, over COVID. So let us all also get that, into our culture. Time that you have on our hands, time that you have on our hands, let me attend a masterclass. Time on my hands, let me go and go online and attend a virtual session. So let us just go and kind of retooling ourselves again, acquiring of knowledge. We want to be a knowledge-based economy. So the more knowledge we have, that also we're able to tick the checkbox. Yeah, the tick box. Yeah.
Yes.
So let us also get into that habit of spending more time closer to absorbing knowledge and acquiring knowledge.
Okay. And just as we wrap up our conversation, what's next for the Ministry of Entrepreneurship? We just finished Forbes 30 under 30. That was excellent, by the way. Congratulations to the ministry as well for allowing this to happen. And, we wish you guys the very best. But what's going to come next from here?
Oh, a lot of great things in the pipeline. Yes, I'm going to be spending the next couple of months working with the creatives.
Okay.
What is next is we've got, if you look at, the former Rapper House, you notice a scaffolding around it, it's under refurbishment. That's going to be the home of the digital content creation hub.
Okay.
So that is there. I mean, we're talking to partners, abroad, internationally, locally. What we're now going to be learning, how we're going to be monetizing that. When you talk to the Bank of Botswana, what is a hurdle? Why is it that myself with 1 million viewers, who I wish, why am I not getting, my monthly retainer?
Yep.
So those are things that we need to unpack. So we're going to be spending time unpacking that, because at the end of the day, much attention needs to go to the creative industry, because we've seen how, they've got the ability to sell the country. I mean, we look at let's use the American example, or just Hollywood. That was creatives, I get.
Yes.
Fashion, America.
Yes.
I mean, we consumed a lot of American media that was done by the creatives that, we wake up, which country do you want to go to? I'm off to the States. Everybody wants to go to the States. So we also want that for Botswana. So this is why we're going to be giving the creative industry the attention it needs. So that's going to be some of my focus. Look, a few things. My focus is also women, this, and young youth and that. But a lot of my focus over the next couple of months coming, it'll be working with the creatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you so much, Chilisa, for your time. You look stunning, by the way.
Thank you for the face beat.
Final words, though. I mean, closing remarks as we end our conversation today. What would you like to leave our viewer and our listener maybe with parting words? Okay,
I spoke to networking, and also collaboration is a big thing. Viewers, collaboration. You can't do it by yourself. I mean, you make reference to, ministry put on a good show, Forbes, but the ministry alone could not do it. We collaborated with many other ministries. We collaborate with the private sector. So, in your spaces, entrepreneurs learn to collaborate. Look beyond borders. Look beyond Botswana. You look at a market as SADC, almost a population of just under 400 million people. Now, can you imagine if I'm selling T-shirts, how much of, returns are out there in the SADC? And again, I'd love for a lot of you need to realize that you need to own your journey, invest in your journey. I get a lot of entrepreneurs will come to my office and have a conversation. My Chilisa, I've been invited to a conference in Kenya, I've been invited to a conference in Singapore. I hear you, but that is a mindset change that we need to work away from. You need skin in the game. I mean, if you expect me to sponsor you 100%, what is your participation? I mean, it's like going to the bank. I get it when you go to the bank, they'll say, what is your deposit? So the skin in the game, you need to put in your deposit. I mean, yes, I'll declare I don't have a budget, but there are many ways, whereas you can't leave opportunities because government or the ministry or the private sector has not sponsored you. Every time, learn to save, learn to invest, connect research and development. Instead of blowing your profit all or put some in the pocket, in your savings account, that for the opportunities that would come. Have some skin in the game and invest in yourselves. I mean, I like it. I mean, I spent some time with some creatives, Malabar. They had great equipment. Once, even if it means going to finding a place where you can hire, for 2, 3, 4 hours a set. Make it look impressionable. Ghana, it's all about impressions that you're selling. It's all about the product. So you're not just going to go and use some. But if there's sets, people who've got a set and they want to look like a cocktail lounge, just do that. Invest in yourself. And the more appealing your product is, the more followers you'll get, the more inclination that people want to partner with you, collaborate with you. So hella guy, in the morning you wake up, you give yourself attention. What I'm going to wear, this is going to match like that. Treat your business like that. Treat your business like that, because nobody's going to do it but other than you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to Chilisa for her time. And thank you as well for being a part of our conversation. Like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear from you as well. And thank you so much for your time. From myself, Gedi Mulusiwa, and the BTC Podcast family, we are signing out.